of the old world. And yet, if we compare the Maya with the ancient Chinese, the similarities of belief and practice and symbol suggest that the peoples of the Americas never quite lost that deep connection with their prehistoric origins in Asia. The Maya shared with the Chinese the fundamental belief that civilization and humankind are not set apart from nature, but part of a natural order whose workings it is the human duty and the human interest to understand. And like the Chinese, the Maya did this through divination, shamanism, and through intellectual and moral control. At the core of the Mayan view of civilization was an all-consuming obsession with time. Time measured in vast recurring cycles of hundreds of millions of years. Longer indeed than the universe is known to have existed. The Greeks explored the cosmos through geometry, the Hindus through metaphysics, the Maya through the mathematics of eternity. Mexico City, the largest city on Earth. Since the landing of Columbus in 1492, two conceptions of civilization have fought for the soul of the peoples of the Americas. The one foreign and recent, that of the West. The other ancient and native. In the last 500 years, despite genocide and forcible conversion, the spiritual conquest of the Native Americans has never taken place. For all this time, they have tenaciously held on to their old languages, their old beliefs, their old views of the cosmos and of time, keeping faith, as they would put it, with their ancient future. It's dawn in Chichicastenango, Guatemala. Chichi is one of the market towns in the highlands of the Quiche Maya. In Guatemala, the majority of the people are still Indian and still speak the language of the ancient pre-Columbian civilization here, the Maya. In front of the Church of St. Thomas, travelers burn copal incense, asking forgiveness from the Mayan spirit guardians at the door. All around the market, you can pick out the home regions of the traders by their woven jackets. The bat is a symbol from the ancient Mayan underworld, worn by the last dynasty of the Caciquel Maya. Today it's the emblem of the township of Solola. The designs on the women's clothes are the most elaborate, carrying coded information about family and lineage. In such ways, the people have preserved part of the pattern of the old Mayan universe. Here in Chichi, the traditional civic rituals are kept up by the religious guilds, the cofradías. They hark back to pre-Columbian times, organizing the festival days here, both Christian and Maya. In fact, it was through the cofradías here in 1702 that Europeans were allowed to see and copy the only known manuscript of the Mayan Genesis, the Popol Vuh. Down the middle of their church are Mayan altars for the ancestors, the shamans, and the midwives. The prayers of the cofradías might stand as a text for all the native peoples of the Americas. These rituals of worship, they say, were handed down from our first ancestors and never lost, despite the Spanish conquest. Don't expect us to give up these customs, Father Christ. For us, only names and fortunes change. In the hills above Momostenango is the house of a Mayan shaman, Andres Shiloh. Andres is a living link with the pre-Spanish world. A priest for nearly 50 years. He's a Chuchcahao, a lineage head, literally a mother-father. He's also a day keeper, a guardian of the Mayan calendar. Andres uses sacred divination as a tool to probe the ills of his patients, to feel their past and future. He lays out the coral tree seeds and crystals. According to the days of the Mayan calendar, a 260-day cycle based, so the Quiche believe, on the gestation period of the human baby within the womb. Now, Don Andres understands this by the way in which the beans are, the arrangement in which they lie. Or?
Entonces usted entiende eso porque por la colocación de
exactly.
That's exactly how he understands. Estos son los nombres de los
Over the last few years, I've travelled to many parts of the world, and everywhere, pretty much, you see destruction of the environment and war and so on. People are making an enemy of the earth. How does Don Andres view that from the Mayan tradition?
Está diciendo el Señor que ha viajado mucho.
Respect for its divinity. And so it was human beings who were given memory to count the days and bear time's burden. Human beings who were responsible for maintaining the rituals, bonding nature, humanity, and the heavens. And if they ever ceased, the whole universe would cease to have meaning. In that myth in the Popol Vuh, perhaps there's a distant race memory of the migration of the ancestors of the peoples of the Americas, thousands of years ago from Asia. Even today, in the Guatemalan countryside, you can see rituals and beliefs shared with the people of China and East Asia. The use of jade in death rites, the symbolism of tortoise and bat, divination, And here the burning of prayers, ideas which go back even before language itself, back to some deep common root of humanity. Today's people of Central America partake of two very different conceptions of nature and civilization, the indigenous and the Western. But whatever their ancestry, they all still draw on that great past which developed untouched by the outside world till 1492.
Aproveche esta oportunidad que el Ministerio de Salud Pública está brindando nuevamente por medio de la...
The native past is still literally ever present. The great carved heads of gods or rulers stare impassively at the modern world, created by a culture which arose here around 1000 BC, the Olmecs. In the art of the Olmecs, from nearly 3,000 years ago, we can already feel the grave sensibility of the Central American universe. Stoical, but possessed of an inner strength which would enable its people to bear any burden, even one as heavy as the last 500 years. The first great flowering of Central American civilization took place in the first millennium AD in the Valley of Mexico. This is Teotihuacan, the place where men became gods. Here the early Mexicans built a vast city, center of a trading empire which extended all over Central America. And here, independently of the Old World, they built huge pyramids rivaling those of Egypt and Babylonia. Testimony that though separated so widely by time and space, the human mind still creates the same symbols, the same dreams of bridging the gulf between earth and heaven.
Sí.
See? It was the first time in 1971 that anybody had been in here.
And now an extraordinary discovery, made under the heart of the Pyramid of the Sun, has confirmed that an elaborate cosmic symbolism underlies the layout of the city. A narrow passage through the lava leads to a 7-pronged chamber, dead under the center of the pyramid. So, Professor, where exactly are we now in relation to the pyramid? This was the original pilgrimage place, which had dictated the siting of the pyramid above. It was the place of emergence of the first ancestors, alluded to in the later creation myth of the Maya, the Popol Vuh.
En el caso del Teotihuacano, como la mayor parte de las sociedades que conocemos para Mesoamérica, explican su cosmovisión y hablan de un lugar